Okay, so we have two options today for filming. We have this beautiful mural or this close-up of blue cheese. Lily here in the heart of Notting Hill, where Gilberto Gil came after he had to flee Brazil, and we're going to talk about his collaboration with the Cortejo Afro called Cortejo Gil, which was performed at the Barbican a couple of nights ago. Gilberto Gil's career is a series of paradoxes. He was arrested by the Brazilian government and then later in life became their Minister for Culture. Gilberto Gil's voice is a paradox too. It's at once powerful and vulnerable. I saw this most clearly when he sang a version of No Woman, No Cry. We've all heard the iconic version of the song by Bob Marley, but here Gil invests the word cry with this sense of longing, this sense of angst that makes you understand emotionally what's at stake in the music. The inside of the concert hall looked like a child's imagination of what a human body might look like. There was a tiny heart like this at the top of the stage on the left-hand side, and the performers wore red and white like they were blood cells, part of some enormous organism. But as the concert went on, this sense of an enormous body that was separate from my own diminished. Instead, the space of the Barbican seemed to shrink right down until it became like a seedy bar where we were all part of the performance. The audience interacted, but not in the usual way, just cheering and groaning. Instead, they actually spoke to the performers. At one point, Aldo Brizzi's mic broke, and someone said, as if he was a friend over dinner, "Brizzi, I can't hear you." This concert feels like a series of conversations, the first being between the Cortejo Afro and the Orchestra Nova Lisboa. And these words are going to be Cortejo Afro and the Orchestra... No, I was so nearly right. It's the Orchestra Nova No. When the flute comes in, it's not with this roaring sense of confidence, but as if it's creeping gently into the conversation, trying to find a way to get its point across. By contrast, the Cortejo Afro seem confident. Their movements are synchronized and rhythmic. There's a sense to which I was always going to be a tourist in this experience. I was relying on people who spoke Portuguese in the audience to give me cues as to how to react to different parts of the song. There was a song that ended on him repeating the word nada 6 or 7 times. It's something that is at once angry and sad, something nostalgic, looking towards an end. But I didn't understand how that related to the rest of the music, because there's always going to be that barrier of the fact that it's in Portuguese. One of the things that made this concert particularly special is that it was the premiere of an opera based on the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita. And what was fantastic was the way that voices interplayed with strings. Again, it was that call and response. The two different sounds were almost indistinguishable. It was like listening to twins have some sort of conversation with each other, like but different. The Núcleo de Ópera de Bahian had these incredible voices that made a sound that I had never experienced before. It sounded echoey, like they were far away. Like though they were right by me, I was listening to something out my window at night and hoping to catch further strains of it. This concert raised a question for me which is too big to answer, which is the extent to which we can be moved by the music that doesn't belong to us linguistically or culturally. It feels like inviting someone over to your mum's house for shepherd's pie and being shocked that they're not as warmed by it as you are. But there are things that you can take away. You might not be able to get the fine detail, but there are broad strokes of colour which will stay with you as something that was maybe all the more meaningful for the fact that you're only just touching the surface of it.